Reach Worldwide. And our vision is to see young people around the globe experience and be transformed by God beyond the four walls of the church and in the most influential areas of culture. And our mission is to be a light to the emerging generations through kingdom meeting culture in arts and entertainment, media, ministry, technology, and education. And I also do want to mention that in January, we will be launching our first program, Love, which stands for Leaders of Vision with Excellence. And this program is specifically for teens and young adults between the ages of 14 to 24. And lastly, if you want more information about Reach Worldwide and our upcoming programs, please visit our website at reachworldwide.net. Again, reachworldwide.net, not .com or .org, but .net. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our program for this evening. I'm super excited about our partnership with Cvs Health in sponsoring our second virtual seminar. Today, we are discussing tips on obtaining scholarships and internships, and we will also have a special guest discussing apprenticeship opportunities with Cvs Health, which I'm super excited about. And so I'm excited to introduce our first guest, Tracy Morgan, because she is a young lady and who is absolutely amazing. She is a junior at New York University studying digital media, producing, and Chinese. That's a lot. And she's studying it all. And originally from Washington, D.C. area, Katrina grew up immersed in the entertainment industry and has previously worked with several internships in the industry. She is currently working as a publicity intern for The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and Saturday Night Live on NBC. That's huge, y'all. And on campus, she is the marketing director for Tisch New Theater, the marquee events coordinator for Tandon Undergraduate Student Council, and admissions ambassador and the Ivy Leaf reporter for the Alpha Mu chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So without further ado, welcome, Katrina.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here.
Hey, yes, I'm super excited that you're on. I'm really thankful that you agreed to just share with us this evening because I know it's going to be an amazing conversation. And so for those who are listening and watching, this is going to be more of a conversational Q&A type of thing that we're going to do just to share tips and just wisdom on obtaining internships and scholarships. And so the first question that I want to ask you, Katrina, is if you have any tips and strategies on finding and applying for scholarships, because I know there's so many different scholarships that are out there, but some can be hard to find, or some might not know where to look. And so they end up missing out on all these amazing opportunities. So could you share some tips on finding them and applying for them as well?
Yes, definitely. The first thing that I would like to emphasize is just how important it is to start early. There are a lot of scholarships that are available for high school seniors and college students, but there are also many that are open for high school underclassmen. And you can start applying for some scholarships as early as your freshman year of high school. And one of the easiest first steps to start finding those scholarships, I would say, is to sign up for mailing lists from scholarship websites. Some of the biggest ones are FastWeb, Niche, and scholarships.com. These sites will send you weekly and even sometimes daily scholarship email blasts with new things to apply to. And beyond these, there are scholarships you can find for practically anything. A lot of the time, there are scholarships available for the major that you're going to. For example, I was applying to study engineering, and there were a lot of programs from like different technology companies and other organizations that are specifically targeting to give scholarship money to people going into that field. And in addition to like applying for scholarships for your major, you can find scholarships offered for other hobbies or activities you have a passion for. Definitely like research any local organizations. And you can even check with your parents, because I was able to get scholarships for my dad's job. So just like checking in with any possible resources that you can find, scholarships are really everywhere. And I also want to emphasize to like how important it is to go for all ranges of scholarships. Some may not seem like a whole lot of money, but they definitely do add up. So apply to as many as you can. And also be organized with your applications. I kept a spreadsheet of scholarships along with their due dates and checked them off as I completed the application. And I updated it at each step along the way to make sure that I was always on track and knowing like what I needed to complete, any due dates, and if I ever heard back, because some scholarship programs require interviews. So just staying on top of that and being organized is super important.
Nice. That is super brilliant on the spreadsheet because I remember when I was applying for scholarships, it was so overwhelming keeping up with all the different due dates and if I wrote the essay yet. And so having that spreadsheet, I know would be super helpful. So I'm really glad you gave that tip. And also for those who are listening as well, we're going to be sharing a lot of information. So make sure you're taking notes. And if you feel like you've missed anything, we're also going to repost this on our YouTube so you can go back and take notes as well. Just wanted to give that disclaimer before we go to the next question. And so, yes, thank you so much for those tips, Katrina. And our next question will be on the essay portion of scholarships, because I know a lot of scholarship require you to write an essay. So do you have any tips for writing those and, making those the best that they can be?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I can recommend for the essay is to get personal. You really want to tell a story and paint a picture about yourself that the reader can't really get simply from your resume or any like credentials that you've had on your regular application. For colleges, demonstrate what you can bring to the table. And for scholarships, emphasize how their investment into you will benefit you and be instrumental to your success in achieving your goals. You will be writing a lot of essays during the application process. I know I wrote like many, like every day I was applying to things for both schools and scholarships. So I would say try to work smarter and not harder. Where essay questions are similar, I found myself pulling from a core set of essays and just tweaking them to align specifically to whatever new program I was applying to. Because a lot of the times the essay prompts can be very similar from program to program. And I also recommend having multiple people proofread your essays for any grammatical errors or mistakes, just to make sure there's no typos. You want to make sure that you're putting out the best possible work you can.
Nice, nice. Love these tips. And so I know that people will be really interested in hearing the next topic we're going to talk about, which is the internship portion, because from your bio in your current internship now, that is an amazing, amazing internship. And so I know a lot of people are like, "Ooh, what does she do?" So the next question I wanted to ask was, could you share some tips and strategies for applying and applying for internships and finding them as well? And even, with balancing school plus your internship, because that can be a huge transition and adjustment that might not be talked about a lot because, we seek out these internships and want to get our foot in the door. And once we finally do, it's like, oh, wait, how do I even manage all this? So could you share some tips on that?
Yeah, getting internships in college is definitely really important. It helps build up your resume and you make connections that ultimately will lead to a job, which I'm sure is one of the main goals that most of you have set for yourself after graduating. And a good place to start is right on the campus of your school. I know my school has a Center for Career Development that offers career coaching, mock interviews, and resume and cover letter writing help. So if you're not sure what resources that your school offers to connect you with an internship, you can also consult with your advisor. And then in addition, just on your campus, I know my school and some of my other friends and their colleges, they offer on-campus jobs, which are a great way to start building your resume with the introductory skills necessary for like any real job. And a major thing that is so important in getting internships and also just in your career is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pretty much just a social media for career professionals where you can network with people in your industry and learn more about what you want to do and find open internship opportunities to apply to. I use LinkedIn like really regularly, like pretty much every day. And I follow different companies that I'm interested in working at. And by doing that, I've been able to learn about programs to participate in that I wouldn't have like off the site. And also it keeps me updated on when application cycles open each semester for different companies that I'm interested in working in, because it's really best to apply as soon as you possibly can for big companies that get a lot of applications in. So staying on top of that is really important. I also want to emphasize networking. There are a lot of college students on LinkedIn, and you never know where your fellow classmates may end up and be able to help you in achieving your goals as well. I know I have people from my school who I've connected with and been able to help give me referrals and just like give me advice to get to different companies that I'm interested in working at. And I've also been able to do the same for other people, both at my school and other students who just reached out to me via LinkedIn and said they wanted to learn more about my internship roles, and I was able to help them give advice. And then besides LinkedIn, check to see if your school has their own job board. I know my school uses Handshake, and there's a lot of other schools that also have like logins through Handshake. And basically, that's a job forum where all of these postings are from companies that are actively looking for students from your school in specific. So that's a huge resource because they're looking for you. So going on Handshake and applying to different opportunities there is definitely a really good help. Also, if you know what industry you want to work in, there are job and internship boards specific to your industry online. For example, I want to work in entertainment. So I use a website called entertainmentcareers.net and also Hollylist, just to name a couple of websites. And I'm able to find internships they're updated pretty regularly. And I find different opportunities in my industry of entertainment in specific. And I'm sure there are available websites that do the same for other industries as well. As for balancing school and my internships, I have to admit it can be really challenging. My freshman year, I didn't take on any internships because adjusting to college was enough work already. Most companies have programs that run in the fall, spring, and summer. So if you ever feel that interning during the semesters are just too overwhelming for you, that's totally okay. I've actually held internships during each semester type, and I would just emphasize that time management and organization is what's most important for success. I know I use Google Calendar and literally plan out my entire life. I fill it with my classes, work hours, and even schedule down to the hour, sometimes just specifying how I'm going to get my schoolwork done. And that really takes a lot of accountability. I know sometimes after working at my internship all day, I'll be really tired and like, I don't feel like doing any homework. I've worked enough today, but I have like my checklist of things that I need to get done for school each day. And just making sure that I stay on top of that schedule, I've been able to balance my classes, clubs, internships, and even my social life pretty well.
That's amazing. Those are some really, really great tips and words of wisdom. And I do want to stress again to everybody to make sure you're writing all of this down because it is a lot of information and a lot to remember. And I know that if we apply the things that are said here, the tips that are given, that it could be a game changer for your career. So make sure that you're taking notes of everything that's being said tonight. So thank you for those tips, Katrina. And before you go, I would like to bring up your mom, the amazing Tracy Morgan, because I'm sure she has some things to share from a parent's perspective. And for those who are listening, I want to give some background on who Miss Tracy Morgan is outside of being Katrina's mom. And so Tracy Morgan has been in broadcasting and communications for over 30 years. For nearly a decade, Tracy was a popular host on CBS owned Heaven 1580 in Washington, D.C. She is a Stellar Award winner for Announcer of the Year and was awarded the Reach Award for Outstanding Achievement. Tracy is currently a syndicated radio announcer for Rejoice Musical Soul Food Network. She's also the host of Morning Inspirations at WHUR in 96.3 WHUR and program director and morning show host on 1440 WBBP in Memphis, Tennessee. Tracy gives back to her community through her annual Back to School with New Shoes campaign that helps families in need, providing new shoes for their kids. I'm happy to have Mrs. Tracy Morgan join us for this conversation. Hi, Mrs. Morgan, can you come on up?
Hey, yes, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. I'm super excited to hear you speak on the parents' perspective when it comes to scholarships and internships. And so the first question I want to ask you is that from a parent or guardian perspective, what are the best ways that you can support your child during their process of finding and also applying for scholarships?
Process. Whew. It is a process. Yes,
Yeah.
it is for both the child and the parent. First, I would say keep your child encouraged. It's a long process and you don't get the results until like months later. And there is so much pressure on the kids. They are taking extra classes. We're looking at AP classes. They're trying to get their GPA high and they're trying to figure out, well, what school will I attend? They know they need to be well-rounded because these are some of the things that colleges look for, is that well-rounded student. And of course, you know, the parents, we put that pressure on our kids as well because they want to please us. They want to do the best as well. So not to mention they have to deal with homecoming and prom and graduations, all those things that they walk through during their high school years. So we have to remember they're still a child. That was what I kept in mind. My husband and I were like, you know what? She's still our little girl, 16, 17, 18-year-olds with all of this pressure. So there was time when it was very important to say, okay, Katrina, take a break. Don't write another essay. Don't do anything. As a matter of fact, it's game night for the family and take some of that pressure off. And I must add, when we're talking about pressure as parents, there's also pressure for the parents as well, because of course you want your child to make the best possible decision as possible. So with the guidance and trying to make sure that we're allowing it to be their decision, but giving them that support and that guidance.
Yes, I love that you bring up just how you can support them, emotionally and just in a well-rounded perspective, because I was just thinking on the lines of like, oh, if you find a scholarship as a parent, send it to your child. But I didn't really think about the emotional support and the mental support. So I love that you brought that up. Um, so the next question that I have is also from the parent or guardian perspective. What are the best ways to support your child during the process of finding and applying for internships specifically?
Well, like I just said, you want to, everyone should know their child. I knew when we were getting to that point where it was just too much for her because, the pressure is on for her to get scholarship money. I mean, she was blessed actually to receive over $3 million in scholarships.
Wow.
And when I say that she worked and she looked into every possible area that she could get money from, and that was a lot of pressure. So we knew as parents that, what was enough for her at that particular time. So we saw her stressing, we saw her, saying, hey, I got to get this essay out, or should I do this or should I do that? You have to know your child as a parent. So the best advice I would say is, look for those signs. If you see that your child is getting stressed out or anything like that, make sure that you scale back and say there needs to be a balance there, and make sure that they experience that balance. So she was fortunate enough to be in the marching band and participate in other things, whether it be church or whether it be other social activities that kept that balance there.
Nice. Yeah. I love that you bring up the balance aspect, because I know for a lot of high achievers, I'm one of the people who are perfectionists, and I just want everything to be the best of the best. It's so easy to be super laser focused on getting these applications in and all of this stuff, and you don't have any balance going on in your life. So I love that you bring up that point. And I think this next question will be really interesting, because I know that a lot of parents or guardians have a lot of years ahead of their child when it comes to work life and just that whole entire world of working in a professional space. So once your child finally secures that internship and they started on their new job, how can you as a parent or guardian support your child in that next phase of their life?
That's an interesting question, because I had no idea that my daughter wanted to pursue pretty much entertainment. I mean, we started off with, I think it was, what was it, engineering, Katrina? And she went in and she's still under the engineering, her scholarship is, but she has this passion for entertainment. So I feel kind of, what's the word? I'm just blessed because I can guide her just through some of the things that I've experienced during my journey in the broadcast industry, and sharing some things with her in terms of how this business comes all, how it all works and how it all comes together. So I feel like I have sort of the upper hand there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And what would you say to a parent when it comes to encouraging your child through that time where they are part of that internship and they have like really hard days on the job and they feel like it's not going well, or they're in a new space and they might mess up on something on the job and they're beating themselves up? Like, what word of encouragement or wisdom would you give them in that moment?
Actually, we had that conversation today. Katrina and I, she was just talking about how her workload for this week was just off the chain. You know, she said, "Mom, I'm so busy. I have this with the sorority. I have this here. I have that going on." And I just basically encouraged her, you're only one person and you have to find time for yourself. You have to take a moment for yourself. You can't do it all. You can try to accomplish it, but you just can't do everything. And just teaching her to manage her stress level, even at this age, because as a child, well, she's my child, your child, at this age, that's very, very important that we make sure that we encourage them to have a balance. So that's what we actually talked about today. I said, I know you're busy, but don't forget to take time out for yourself.
Nice. I love that. I love that you're just able to support her through this journey, and just being an amazing mom, an amazing mentor, it sounds like, and because you already have worked in this industry. So that just sounds amazing. And so thank you so much, Katrina and Mrs. Morgan, for being a part of this portion of our virtual summit.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to interrupt you because there's a young man that is watching who just threw his hands up. What about Dad? Dad was in this process.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So got to throw him in there. So kudos to my husband, who also who's done an amazing job with her as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you to Dad as well. That's great. So yes, I'm certain that the tips and just words of wisdom that both of you have shared have been super helpful to both students and parents who have joined us today. And just, yes, thank you so much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your evening.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we can go ahead and transition to the second half of our program. I am so grateful for Cvs Health and our partnership that we have with them that has made this night of education possible. And I hope that this has been helpful to you all so far. If you have any questions for our next speaker, we'll be opening up for Q&A at the conclusion of our program. So you can go to the chat and type in your questions and we will address those at the end. And so as she's speaking, just be thinking of any questions that you have, write them down so you won't forget them, and we can get them answered at the end of the program. So next, I'm very excited to introduce our special guest speaker, Ms. Tracy Britton. Tracy Britton is a senior advisor workforce initiatives with Cvs Health. In this role, she oversees national apprenticeships, PMB, and grants. She has over 20 plus years of human resources experience managing stakeholder relationships, providing consultative services, and implementing measurable workforce solutions within 4 geographical markets. Tracy Britton is a strategic, goal-oriented leader with strengths in dynamic leadership and relationship building. Without further ado, Mrs. Britton, you can come on up.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Thank you so much, Faith, for the warm introduction. And I definitely want to acknowledge Katrina Morgan and her mother, Tracy Morgan. Katrina, you are a very impressive young lady, and I wish you much success as you pursue your interest and passions in the entertainment industry. So congratulations on all the work that you've accomplished so far. And I even took away some key takeaways when she was talking about, being really deliberate with managing your tasks and, having those responsibilities in a spreadsheet. So nice work. So let me share my screen this afternoon or this evening. I'm going to be presenting some information on our apprenticeship program. So I will share my screen with everyone. All right. All right, so this is my opening slide. What I'm going to do this afternoon is provide a high-level overview of our apprenticeship programs. As Faith mentioned, I'm a senior advisor, and just to translate it, it's a senior manager role in a department called Workforce Initiatives. CVS Health is positioned pretty uniquely in that we have a department that is dedicated to creating innovative workforce programs to build talent pipelines for our organization. And one of those workforce programs is apprenticeship. So I'm going to dive into some details here. But first, let me bring up the agenda. Of course, an introduction. We're going to, oops, sorry about that. Moving a little too fast. So my introduction was already provided by Faith, so I won't spend time on the next slide that will come up, which will be my intro slide. But I want to go into some details around the significance of apprenticeship and speak to you about CVS Health History with apprenticeship, the role of the Department of Labor, so the relationship we have with the Department of Labor and our apprenticeship programs. And then what we'll do is we'll transition to talk about the national footprint that we have with our apprenticeship programs, which essentially means where our programs are registered across, the United States. And then what is the value of apprenticeship? So what is the value to you interested in an apprenticeship program and becoming an apprentice? And then we will, I'll provide some contact information so that you're able to reach out to me and ask me any specific questions that you have on the content that I've shared this afternoon. All right, so this is just my intro slide. I just want to let you all know that I am based out of Illinois. This is the skyline of Chicago. Any opportunity I have to brag on the city of Chicago and its beautiful skyline, I love to do that. But yes, I have program oversight for our national apprenticeship programs. I focus on certain aspects of CVS Health, the business. So when you think about CVS Health, most individuals are familiar with the local CVS pharmacy on every other corner in your local community. But part of what makes up CVS Health is we have what's called a pharmacy benefit management business vertical. And what that means is we manage the prescription benefit for our clients. Those are health plan companies, employer groups. So that's what a PBM stands for, pharmacy benefit manager. And I'm also responsible for applying for and bringing money into the organization through grants. So I have over 20 years of experience, 15 years here at CVS Health. I have a team of 3 individuals that help me with all of this work. And let's see, I'm a certified diversity recruiter. I'm a certified project manager, and I do have a master's degree with an emphasis in global business as my specialization. So apprenticeships, what are apprenticeships and why are they significant? I know there's a lot of words on this slide, but the key takeaways that I want to share with you is apprenticeships. They are a career training program for anyone new to a practice, whether it's in a trade like construction or whether it's in a profession like, a pharmacy technician role within CVS Health. And this career training program provides on-the-job training. So you, as an individual, if you're interested in becoming an apprentice for a particular occupation that you're aware CVS Health has, and we'll spend some time talking about those occupations later in the presentation. But once you're hired into a specific role, we are going to provide training that's been approved by the Department of Labor. And the significance with that is that the training provides not only high quality, but it's pretty rigorous, because not only are you going to be responsible for the job that you're hired to do, but to build your competency within industry, right? So within the pharmacy services space, using pharmacy technician as an example, there's a lot of rigor. We want to build that competency so that you're comfortable and you're confident in what you're learning. So it's providing that on-the-job training, which is combined with what we call related training instruction. And that related training instruction can be with a community college, or it can be with web-based training that we can provide. So it really depends on how we design an apprenticeship program. So I know I'm getting into the weeds, but because there are a lot of words on this slide, I wanted to acknowledge RTI, which is what you're seeing before you. But really, think about the apprenticeship program. It's one of the oldest systems in the United States. Apprenticeships, if you think about, I want to share with you this particular example. Back in, it was roughly around 1785, 1795 time period. And this was before colleges were established or universities were established. There was a gentleman by the name of James Durham, Durham. He was a slave, but his slave masters recognized that he was, pretty smart. And so his slave masters, I'm saying slave masters because he was sold more than once to slave masters that happened to be physicians. So with the very first slave master, they recognized that he was pretty sharp, and they started to they made him an apprentice. So they were teaching James Durham their craft of becoming a physician. So I'm not going to share more of the story, but if you have an opportunity, Google James Durham. He was the very first African-American doctor. Not going to an institution, because it wasn't, we didn't have, university systems established at that point, but he did become the very first, African-American physician through apprenticeship. So the significance, again, just to kind of close off this slide, for employers like CVS Health, it's a fantastic way to train new staff cost effectively. And it also builds in loyalty, right? We as an employer are investing in our employees. And then for the apprentice, which is also an employee, you are earning while you're learning. And it prepares you as a worker for a highly skilled career. So on the next slide, I always like to share this quote. It's a quote from our senior director, Ernie DuPont. And here's the quote: "Apprenticeship is a powerful recruitment and training strategy to help bring diverse talent into our company and offer more expansive career pathways in healthcare. We have launched innovative apprenticeship models working with national, local, and community partners to recruit workers from previously untapped pools. So to boil this down into a nutshell, within our department workforce initiatives, we are responsible for working in the community, building partnerships with national, state and local partners. So those could be educational partners, it could be workforce boards, it could be nonprofit organizations. But we work with these partners because these partners have a constituency, and we want to create pathways. These are recruitment pathways for individuals to, one, be introduced to healthcare careers at CVS Health, and then two, we're creating a way for them to build up competency in a workforce program so that they're qualified for opportunities with our organization. So it gives us an opportunity to go after diverse talent that we want to bring into the organization. All right, so what is the role of the U.S. Department of Labor? So to have an apprenticeship program, our program is registered with the Department of Labor, and it has two safeguards. One, it protects the welfare of the apprentice, also known as the employee, and it ensures equality of access to apprenticeship programs. So we have, CVS Health has been, we've had our apprenticeship program registered with the Department of Labor for over 16 years. We were the very first employer to have a white collar occupation registered at the Department of Labor for a pharmacy technician occupation. And over the course of 16 years, we started off in Detroit, Michigan. We started off under President George W. Bush, and our footprint with apprenticeship has grown exponentially. 16 years ago, we started off in one market, expanded to 3, and today we are in 22 states. So here is a map of where we have apprenticeship programs registered. 22 states. I know that I'm talking to a geographically dispersed audience. So if your state if you have a heart on your state, we have an apprenticeship program. Now, in addition to our footprint, in terms of where our programs are registered, we also have 4 occupational tracks, which I'm going to get into on the next slide. And then also in terms of apprentices, we have over 16,000 apprentices that are registered within our program. So we're just super excited that one, we have a significant outreach. 2, that the outreach today, when I talk about our outreach, we just did some analytics, and over 58% of our registered apprentices fall in the demographic of 16 to 24. So that's the demographic that we're touching with our apprenticeship program. So we're super excited about that. And then I also want to emphasize that 80% of apprentices, so looking at that 16,000 number, 80% are female. So super excited about that as well. So moving to the next slide, and here's where we're going to get into the occupations. So we have, again, 4 occupational tracks, and I'm just going to hit all of my buttons here so that all of the occupational tracks are on the slide. Our very first occupation is the Pharmacy Benefit Manager, or also known as PBM. It's a prior authorization and appeals pharmacy technician. These technicians support pharmacists by gathering patient diagnosis information in order to process prior approval requests from physician offices. So that's one occupational track. And that track I know we have it registered in Texas, and Arizona. And the occupation also is in Illinois, but I don't have that track registered in the state of Illinois as of today. The next track that we have is store manager in training. So if you are interested in becoming a leader and you want to manage a retail store, we provide newly hired employees a foundation of management skills, including understanding of inventory, staff development, and what it means to work with purpose. And this would be a great occupation for someone that is just right out of high school. They're not interested in going to college, but they're interested in a leadership occupation. Or it could be if you are looking to go into, if you're in college and you're looking for a job where you can develop your leadership skills, this is a great way to join our organization, get paid while you're learning this occupation, and again, develop those competencies of understanding inventory, staff development, and what it means to work with purpose. The occupation we registered 16 years ago was our retail pharmacy technician. This is a vital team member who uses their knowledge and skills to help thousands of customers that walk through our stores improve their health. Today, we have more than 20,000 openings nationwide. And then the last occupation that we registered most recently is distribution and logistics supervisor. This plays an important part in delivering services that keep our customers coming back to CVS Health. So by maintaining that supply chain of inventory and products, that distribution and logistics supervisor track is very important to the success of our organization. So those are the 4 occupational tracks that we have registered. Not all 4 are registered in all of the states that we have. So we're registered in 22 states, but all 4 of these occupations are not registered in all 22 states. So I'll give you some contact information at the end of my presentation, so that if you're interested in learning whether or not an occupation that that you're interested in is available in your market, we can certainly provide you that information. So let's get to the value. What is the value of a Department of Labor registered CVS Health apprenticeship program? Well, one, you have a job, you're earning while you're learning, and at the end of that training experience, you're presented by the Department of Labor a portable credential, which speaks volumes. If you decided to leave CVS Health and let's say go to, I'm just going to say Walgreens is going to recognize that portable credential with the Department of Labor, because what it signifies is that you meet the competency and the confidence within that industry. So pharmacy services within industry as a competent pharmacy technician, or any of the other 3 occupations. So it's just recognizing that you went through a quality program and that program was pretty rigorous. For an employer, it helps us build a talent pipeline, and it creates a pathway of skilled and diverse workers for the organization. It's a great succession plan for hiring managers, and it's a retention tool as well. What we've noticed is that our retention with individuals that participate in our apprenticeship program is close to 80%. So it lowers turnover, because what we're doing is we're investing in the colleague, in the employee, and we're providing them with a training program. And we're also providing, one of the nice things about apprenticeships is that you're going to be connected to the hip with a mentor, someone that cares about your success, someone that you can go to say, hey, I'm struggling with, this aspect of, what I'm learning with, in my apprenticeship program. I need some, additional support, or I really don't understand it. So you'll be connected and be able to talk to that mentor about any challenges that you're having, on the job. And so, that's a nice win for you as an apprentice. So if you're interested in learning more about our apprenticeship opportunities in your state, I have provided you with an email, wi.info@cvshealth.com. That email address is going to go to our department admin, who will then send it to me. But if I could ask you to do one additional thing, if you could put in the body of your email that you learned about our apprenticeship opportunities through Reach Worldwide, then then those messages will come directly to me, and then I can work with the workforce manager in a specific state to provide them more information about how you learned about this opportunity. So that is the end of my presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation. I believe this is such an amazing opportunity for so many people, and I'm glad we were able to, give you all the platform to share this amazing information and opportunity. So again, if any of you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I can see if we have any questions yet. Okay, I don't see any just yet, but I
Okay.
think a common question would be if there's an application process, then what would that look like? Are there any specific requirements for those who are interested in this program? So just, basic questions like that.
Yes, so, Faith, that's a great question. So there is an application process. So when we use the word apprentice, that means to become an apprentice, you have to become one of our employees. And so if you, I'm going to give you some more homework. So if you write down, and I'll put this in the chat too, jobs.cvshealth.com, that will take you to our career site. And on our career site, you have the ability to, type in, well, I'm interested in, pharmacy technician, or I'm interested in store management and training. Job descriptions will come up, and you'll be able to read over the requirements, but you must follow through the application process so that the recruiter that's responsible for hiring for those specific roles can review your resume and reach out to you and set up an interview.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that information and for clarifying all of that.
You're welcome.
And we actually have a question from Dwayne Sproul, and they ask, do you all currently partner with any high schools with he put internships, but I think he might have been apprenticeships. So yeah, do you partner with any high schools for this program?
We do. That's a great question. So workforce initiatives. So the department that I work in, we're responsible for, working in those communities and developing those partnerships. And I see Dwayne corrected. He meant to say apprenticeships. But yes, we partner with educational institutions at the high school level, as well as at the collegiate level, so that we can promote and recruit for our apprenticeship programs. Dwayne, if I may ask, where are you located? What state are you located in? Decatur, Georgia. Dwayne, yes, Georgia is one of our highest producing states for apprentices. So please send me an email if you're interested in learning more. And if you're interested in learning whether or not we partner with your high school, we're happy to provide you that information and also provide you with a pathway so that you can register, I'm sorry, not register, but apply for an opportunity with CVS Health.
Okay, it looks like we have another question.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, it's in the Q&A section, so I'm going to read it from there. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I think she was commenting on just how this could be a great alternative for those who don't want to go directly to college, or just how apprenticeships are an excellent way to start a career. So could you speak a little bit more on that?
Yeah, that's whoever raised that or made that comment, that's you're absolutely right. Apprenticeships are, we call apprenticeships the original college, or that's what we've coined in our department. It is a wonderful pathway where you can earn and learn and build competency in a particular industry. And if that's the desire in which you want to go, it's a great way. And certainly what we're seeing is that, with college becoming, unaffordable in some instances, in a lot of ways, and, just having the student loan debt, you can develop a really successful career with apprenticeships, not necessarily, going to a four-year institution. But one of the things that I'd like to share, and I'd like for you to keep in mind, is that when I was talking about the significance of apprenticeship, and I mentioned that, you have a job and we're going to provide you on the job training. And then there's what's called that related training instruction. That related training instruction, you're going to be in the classroom. So if I set up my apprenticeship program, let's use Illinois as an example. If let's say I'm partnered with a community partner, it's, a 2-year community college. And I design my apprenticeship program where I'm building in what's called a pre-apprenticeship, right? So that's getting you prepared for an apprenticeship so that you're successful in the apprenticeship program. But then I also want the school to provide the related training instruction. You're going to, work, but then when you need that related training instruction, you're going to go to the classroom. And so you will have that time where you're going to be able to go to the classroom and complete your training, that part of your training, so that you can complete the full apprenticeship training. So again, it's a great alternative to college if college is not, your desired pathway.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And something else that Ms. Seeley Blair brought up is how not every person might be a 4.0 student or AP student, which I know with a lot of colleges, you have to have those higher grades and those better test scores to get in. So, and I believe you mentioned earlier that you first are a CVS employee before you can become an apprentice. So are there any types of, looking at grades or anything like that when it comes to being accepted into the apprenticeship program?
No, and it's so once you're hired, the apprentice or the employee just simply lets the manager know that they're interested in registering for the apprenticeship program. And typically what we do in our department is we're working with the hiring managers, what we call our internal stakeholders, to stand up apprenticeship programs in specific states. So we're registered in 22 states. We're working with internal stakeholders on apprenticeship programs, so they're aware of the apprenticeship programs. They understand their role in delivering, ensuring that the training that you have to take as an apprentice is being delivered. And they're also responsible for making sure that they connect you with a mentor. So it's really there's an ongoing dialogue between workforce initiatives and the business to make sure that the apprenticeship programs are accessible, and that they're equitable for new folks that we're bringing into the organization.
Got it. Nice. All right. So I'm going to check and make sure that we don't have any more questions. Just going to give a last call if you have any questions. Just put them in the chat. And I don't see any so far. So I think we're good. And do you have any just final remarks or closing remarks that you want to share?
Is that to me, Faye?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No worries. No, I'm very appreciative of the participants joining tonight's presentation. Thank you for your time. Again, if you have any specific information that you're interested in learning about apprenticeship opportunities in your market, please contact me at the email address that is, well, that was on the slide. I'll put that in chat along with the email to, not the email, but the link to our corporate jobs portal.
Okay, and we actually do have one last minute question that came in, which is Sharon Stevens asked, step one to apply at jobs.cvs.com, and when and what information do we forward to the email that you shared, where you said to reference Reach Worldwide?
Yeah, great question. So yes, the first step is to apply at jobs.cvshealth.com. So I'll put it versus jobs.cvs.com.
Okay.
So I'll correct the address and put it in the chat. And then in terms of, if you're interested in learning if there's an apprenticeship opportunity in your market, and you're not aware, you don't know for sure, you can reach out to me at the WI-info email address, and I can respond.
All righty. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Britton.
Welcome.
This has been an amazing presentation, such great information, and I'm just super thankful that you were able to come on and join our event this evening.
It was my pleasure, Faye. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. All right, everyone, this has been such an amazing night of education. Thank you again to our special guests, Katrina Morgan, Tracy Morgan, and Tracy Britton. And thank you as well to Tawanda Shamley for organizing this event. And thank you to Shamika McCoy for your support behind the scenes. And lastly, a huge thank you to CVS for sponsoring this event. We couldn't have done it without you all. And just as a reminder, if you would like to stay connected to Reach Worldwide, please visit our website, reachworldwide.net. And just a last reminder, we will be launching our program, Love, in January, and you can get more information about that and sign up to receive updates on our website, reachworldwide.net. And if you're a teen or young adult and you would like to get more information on our upcoming programs, you can also send us your contact information so we can get you plugged in. And we are also looking for mentors and guest speakers for our program too. So if you're interested, you can also go to our website and send us your contact information, and we can send you more information on that. And yes, thank you to everyone again for joining us tonight. I hope you walk away feeling empowered and informed with everything that has been shared, and have a great rest of your evening. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.